welcome to PM Anonymous. Today we're going to go through some interview questions as if you're the person being interviewed. So Phil, these are 10 key Senior Program Manager or PMO Leader interview questions. Let's go through the first one here. Describe your perspective of program management and how it interfaces with organizational portfolio management.
So that question is really a loaded one for one to demonstrate what program management is, walk the interviewers through it as though they're new to it, and how it interfaces with organizational portfolio management, touching on key points such as what exactly a portfolio is. When we talk about portfolio management, it's about doing the right work as opposed to doing the work right. The portfolio manager is not the judge and the knuckle rapper that goes around trying to hurt people doing the wrong thing. No, the portfolio manager chooses the right stuff. So an organizational portfolio is the repository of all of the endeavors across the organization. So for that one, your perspective of what this is, you first of all want to define it and talk about how programs interface with portfolios and how the role of the program and portfolio manager are key at having a very good framework in an organization to manage programs and portfolios.
Well, the second question is, describe how you have added value to a PMO or implemented one in any of your past employments.
So for this, you either have done it or you've not. If you haven't done it, you are going to be put in a little bit of a corner to speak about what you've not done. So you might want to read up about PMOs that have been implemented, have the knowledge if you haven't been there, done that. Now would be a great time, right, for people to try and at least go through that experience just in case it ever came up. Because if you're going for a senior program manager role and you've not really been involved in PMO, implementing PMOs, building PMOs, that could be a rather tough one to talk about, right?
Yeah. Oh, look at this one. Are you a manager or a leader? Give reasons for your answer.
Oh dear. That is a kind of trick question. So what's the difference between a manager and a leader?
I'm not the right person to ask because I'm so frustrated by this difference. Pop culture says managers only care about themselves and leaders care about everyone. But I firmly believe to be a good leader, you must be a talented manager, but also care and have compassion and courage and conviction and commitment and confidence. So I'm guessing you should always say that you're a leader with management skills as quantified here.
Yeah, that's typically the best. Because when you talk about management is all about the maintenance of systems or procedures, not necessarily coming up with the answers, right, but being able to maintain, not coming up with the order, but being able to maintain the order. Whereas the leader is the person who brings the power, the motivation, the zeal, the zest, the ideas. So, yeah, I'm a leader with management skills.
People want to follow you when you're a leader. They work when you're not in the room. So describe a time in your career when you have delegated responsibilities unsuccessfully. Oh, these kind of questions are always good because we all have failures in our background. But the key is to, as soon as you say, this is what I failed at, this is how I learned, this is what I would do differently, this is the idea behind my failure.
Exactly. And it's good to keep it in that context of what would have made it more successful, so at least people gather that you've learned your lesson, right?
Yeah. Discuss your project prioritization methodology.
So again, methodology could put you in a box. You could say, oh, well, first of all, I use a Gantt chart. And no, that's not what they're asking. So prioritization methodology will be, how do you prioritize key things that need to be done on a project or in the day or the life of a PM or a program manager? When you get to the table, how do you prioritize what needs to be done? What are you responsible for? What will give you the biggest return? What will give you the biggest reward? Those are the big ticket things you want to address first. Anything else is just gravy, to be honest.
I think it's important to bring in other stakeholders or the notion that other stakeholders have a say in prioritization.
That's true.
Also, because your projects are affecting others.
Absolutely.
Discuss your method for assessing project, program, and portfolio management maturity.
I would have said OPM 3, but those who know what that means know why I won't. But to assess project, program, and portfolio management maturity in a firm, you need to have, again, data. You need to be able to have data that backs up what was a good project, what was done on it, what is a good program, what was done on it, and what has been a healthy, mature portfolio and what was done in the management of that. If you don't have data, you're just shooting from the hip. So I would say my method will be based on accumulating data that shows which projects were successful, what do we mean by successful in this organization, and what are the landmarks of a successful project, program, and portfolio. And that will help, Otherwise, you could also think about the CMMI model. And again, I hate to say it, OPM3, well, those of you who know what it means, maybe you could think in that regard.
So question 7 really stems off of that, where the follow-up would be, hey, based on what you know about this firm where you're interviewing, discuss at a high level your approach for significantly improving upon that project management maturity level within the next 5 to 10 years.
So the key for number 7 is the mindset of the members of the organization, but it has to start from management. So, for example, one of our clients is currently going through a mindset refresh for their management. So they're inviting us in to refresh their minds or to give them an understanding of what project management is, what program management is, what PMOs are, what the value is. Because it will shock you that a multi-billion firm that I worked for here in Arizona, name withheld, someone said, Phil, why do we need project managers? We can manage our work ourselves. And I was just deflated. I'm like, my goodness, how could you be in this firm and you are uttering those things? So for me, to improve on project management maturity, you need to improve on the awareness of project management, the understanding of project management, the value of project management. And then when the management understands the value, that will permeate down and also keep educating before introducing new things. Because if people don't understand why they're doing what you're asking them to do, they'll do it mechanically and get no value out of it or little value.
Communication, always so key. From your experience, what are some of the biggest barriers to project management growth?
Project management growth in individuals versus in firms. I'll talk about individuals. For individuals, it's when the individual has shut themselves up to learning and says, I know it all. I don't need to get any certifications. I don't need to interact with anyone else in any professional organization. I'm the be-all, end-all of project management. I'm the best thing that happened to it. Talking about firms, the biggest barrier I've seen, again, is when the powers that be at the helm think they have arrived, the sales are going good, everything's going good, and they don't need to improve. I've seen that as being a big barrier.
You will have 120 project staff reporting to you. Some are coordinators, schedulers, junior PMs, and some are senior PMs. There are also 16 program managers and 4 portfolio managers reporting into this position. Discuss how you would develop a career path or advancement options for your project staff.
This is a loaded question,
Yes.
and I could go on for 20 minutes about this. But the key thing is you might want to create a resource breakdown structure regarding these people so that you can see it all mapped out, which buckets do they fall under. And you need to begin to think about options or programs that could expose them to higher levels of performance, more advanced levels of thinking, and opportunities for them to in turn become mentors and trainers and coaches of others. Because if you just learn and you don't filter back into other people or pour back into other people, then you probably won't grow as much as you could have. So for me, it will all be about identifying the opportunities for growth, opportunities for certifications, education, and what have you.
Describe instances where you have led up to C-level or senior management.
So leading up is really about you being at the bottom, but saying, follow me, I am right behind you, as John Maxwell says. So it's not really about you being, oh, I'm at the top, so just follow me, I'm right in front. No, sometimes you're at the back and you're giving the gentle nudge or the gentle words of advice to management or to C-level people. One of the things you could do is create a level of influence by being subtle about trying to make them see you know something that they should take action on. And here's a little bit of information that you might just want to know. And if you're honest at giving information, that permeates from the bottom up to the top, that's a way where you can lead up by letting people know what you're hearing. You're the boots on the ground, you're the ears to the ground. So let management know what you're hearing. That's one way. Another way is exposing them to other ways of managing projects or even ways of leadership. Maybe buy them a leadership book. You've got the worst manager ever, the worst leader ever. How about sharing some things that could help them improve? Now we're talking about an interview. You might not want to say those things because they could throw off the person interviewing you. But in all honesty, leading up is about letting people in management know what's going on, what you're hearing, and kind of influencing them to take necessary action. If you know they really need to take action, if they don't take action, then things are really going to go bad. You should tell them, because if you don't, things could go wrong for them. I see that as being a way you could lead up by communicating, again, the right stuff.
And in our careers, for most people, we aren't the manager of most of the people that are around us, especially in a project program environment. You have so many stakeholders that are not within your purview. So it's always very important to have those communication skills and to have a light touch when recommending certain ways that people could
That's true.
manage or communicate a little bit better. And by showing them the value in a nice way, sometimes that gets the point across.
That's true. Yeah, it's all about the subtle, have a light touch. Don't be heavy-handed in trying to communicate. You'll very quickly lose any credibility, or you end up not being their favorite person really quick.
Yeah, know your audience very well. Well, thank you, Phil, for taking us through these 10 questions, and good luck to all of you out there who will be interviewing for these positions. And if you have any more questions, please do let us know at pmanonymous.com.